What's up, everybody? My name is PLD, or Pauly D.
And I'm Richard Eric Jarvi. Welcome to Class Action.
Class Action.
This is a very special episode. But before, tell us what is Class Action.
Well, Class Action is our show here on the Action Industries YouTube channel. All things Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy, who we salute for giving us this slot on their network. And Class Action, our show, is where we're going to take movies, franchises, Hollywood personas, viewpoints, and then with the help of 5 custom-made categories, pit them up against each other and decide which one is victorious in what we call the Class Action Brief of the Week.
That's right. And the Brief of the Week, I think it's one of the biggest one we've done so far.
I'm excited.
We are going to be talking 2 of probably one of the most iconic performances or characters ever. It's going to be Indiana Jones going up against Han Solo. So Harrison Ford versus Harrison Ford. This is like an age-old discussion. Who is like the better character?
It's not Alden Ehrenreich versus River Phoenix? No.
By the way, River Phoenix was freaking awesome.
He was pretty sweet in that, huh? And I will say also to the thing, I actually was okay with Alden Ehrenreich and Solo.
Me too. It's just that, like, I just recently rewatched the movie and I've totally forgotten that River Phoenix was in it.
But let's face it, it's really Harrison Ford versus Harrison Ford. Two of my favorite characters. I know, like, both of these franchises are, like, in my top franchises of all time. I grew up with them. Oh, God, I love these guys.
But this is where we decide which is the better character. And this is not our opinion. This will be fact.
Fact. Well, the custom-made categories will make it fact, and I will never change my opinion again. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. I'll probably change it tomorrow, to be honest with you, because that's how it goes. It depends on which movie I'm watching. If I'm watching a Star Wars movie, it's going to be Han Solo. If I'm watching the Indiana Jones movie, hell yeah, it's going to be Indy. But let's see what happens.
Yep, but before we get into the Brief of the Week, we usually review a movie, because, like, this week, Call of the Wild came out with Harrison Ford, so this is why we decided to do Han versus Indy, but neither of us have seen the movie yet. So instead, there was big news about Indiana Jones, and especially Indiana Jones 5, and we are changing directors, it seems like.
Yeah, it has to be fortuitous timing for us, huh? The big news that dropped, Steven Spielberg is no longer going to be directing Indiana Jones Part 5. Indiana Jones 5 has been a long time in coming. It was supposed to debut in 2019, 2020, 2021. Now it's pushed off again a little bit. It seems like the ball keeps rolling in the right direction. It always seems like it's getting closer and closer. But Steven Spielberg dropping out. Now, if that was just the news alone,
actually, it's not him dropping out. It was worded that he's giving over the reins, so he's doing this willingly. He wants to give it away. I almost feels like it.
He's just stepping away from the director role. He's still going to be a producer and everything else. But if it was that alone, I'd say this film is in trouble. But then they float that name out there of somebody else who's in talks to replace him.
James Mangold.
And that guy is gold. He is gold. Ford versus Ferrari, Logan, and over. This guy he's stepped up so much, and I love his direction. That whereas before I was kind of like, oh, Steven Spielberg off, but James Mangold on. I'm interested.
You know, it's. I'm conflicted, honestly, because I feel like. So this might sound a bit too controversial, but like Steven Spielberg. I don't want to say his prime is over, because it's not, but you know, he was indicative of a certain era, and his movies were magical and they fit the era that he was making them, like the 80s and the 90s, and even go back further. It feels like now he's sort of like getting colder. I don't want to say because I love the guy, and James Mangold is getting hotter as he's going.
Well,
so in a way,
you're not alone in that. I mean, Steven Spielberg. I think it's safe to say is not like Steven Spielberg at one point was the greatest director of all time in his time.
For sure.
He's still. It's almost like saying. I mean, it's almost like saying like the Hall of Fame player who's lost a few steps. He's not quite as Hall of Fame. There's other people like that is in the argument now. He still delivers very quality films. Absolutely. They're just not quite as iconic as something like E.T., the Indiana Jones the early Indiana Jones films. I mean, all of Jaws, that nature. They're still good, solid films. And hell, he can even still pull off an adventure film. Ready Player One is one I loved.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
I mean, a lot. It's a polarizing film. A lot of people didn't like it either. So it's kind of indicative of where he is. I also almost get the feeling like he's stepping away more from the adventure type films. He seems to be more in his yard about doing things like The Post and doing things like Lincoln. These like
although I wish he went back to like Ready Player 2. I want to see Ready Player 2.
I do too. I want to say I love my love of Steven Spielberg's movies are always more of the adventure side. I mean, he's got dramatic chops, but I prefer the magic side of him. One more thing.
James, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking about James Mangold. He has this very sort of classic approach to his directing. If you think about his movies, like his latest one, Ford v Ferrari, that's a very like an old-fashioned kind of a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So in that way, he seems like the perfect choice to take over from Spielberg. But still, I'm okay. If we're not getting Spielberg, we better be getting John Williams, because if he's not doing this either, I'm not sure this will work.
Well, that actually brings up a very good point. I mean, because Williams stepped away from Star Wars. Now he's finally done his final Star Wars film. He's definitely getting older. I don't know what he's got left. I don't know. There was conflicting rumors that he might have retired completely, but I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I know I think more specifically Star Wars. But I wonder if Steven Spielberg also feels that the era is ending because there's no George Lucas this time. Indiana Jones, all 4 movies have been Lucas produced, helped write the story. Spielberg is there. So even if we had Spielberg and Harrison Ford and John Williams, you're still missing that component of George Lucas. Now, some people would say that might be a good thing after Crystal Skull, a film that I actually like a lot better than most people do. I mean, P.J. Campbell have been on that kick where we actually have. I love Crystal Skull anyway. I mean, I get why some people don't. I get there's problems with it overall, but I still love the film. But that was all of them together: Spielberg, Williams, Lucas, and Ford. So all of a sudden we lose Lucas. Maybe Spielberg just doesn't feel like it's already. It almost feels like it's a broken ending anyway. It wouldn't be the same without Lucas anyway. I mean, that's why he feels comfortable stepping away. Although there is that's the part that makes it a little bit problematic to me, because I kind of thinking like it would have been one of those franchises. It would have been nice to have 1 through 5 where the key arcs were all there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm conflicted a little bit. But I think it's like on the other hand, James Mangold, it's almost cool to see his take on the character. If we get a different take, it might be something cool. So
he's been getting better and better with each movie. So it's definitely going to be exciting to have him on board.
He's not definitively on board. He's only in talks, from what I've heard.
That's true.
So that could change. If it becomes somebody else, this could be very dangerous. So I will hope that he does it, only because I think if he signs on, it'll definitively happen at that point. Otherwise, it's going to start meandering to find another director. And then, I mean, Harrison Ford's not getting any younger anytime soon. So let's hope this gets done at this point. I want it to get done. I want to see Indy 5 because I love the character. I love the movies. If it's with Mangold, I'm cautiously optimistic, even if I do have a little bit of hesitation. Let's go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's have a final movie with Ford.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's something else we might be doing today. Are you going to intro our public defender bit?
I will. I will say, first of all, we're actually skipping for the first time one of my favorite segments, the What Would Ed Harris Play, because we're not doing any movies specifically. So, although maybe Ed Harris could be in Indy 5. I'll put that out there just because he can do anything. But instead, we will be doing one of our other favorite segments. We call it Public Defender. And that's not any offense meant to any public defenders out there. But when you think, when we do our whole courtroom lawyer motif, you think of public defender, they're not Johnny Cochran. They're not the ones that are hired for millions of dollars. They're the ones who are left when you have no money. So they have to deal with so many people, so many clients. They don't have quite the proper time to prepare a proper defense or something to that effect. So that's the whole roundabout way. We're saying that's what this is. We're going to get a question asked of us, and we're going to have no time to prepare, no time. It's going to be off the cuff, off the top of our head, and see what we can come up with as far as like maybe top 5 or top 6. We'll go back and forth. It's been developing for a while. We have done it a few times where I threw out a question to you, you threw out a question to me, or else we threw out questions together. But we've done something a little bit different this time, haven't we?
That's right. We figured we'd get some outside help, so neither of us know what we're doing. So we asked a very special member of the Action Industries or Action Army. So he sent us a voice message
with the question.
But first, we got to say who it is.
It is my boy, Billy Belford, Christian Harloff's favorite fan of the movie Trivia Schmoedown, if you get that reference. But it's funny we do this because this is what you initially. This is initially a Richard Jarvi pitch to do this, and this was his initial idea that it would be so off the cuff that we wouldn't know. We never really figured out a way to best do that, but this is a good way that we can both get involved because I want us both to be able to do it. You had the idea originally we're going to go back and forth. You do one week, I do one week. I wanted to get us both involved, so why not involve our friends, right? So we'll have Billy Belford do this, and I'll make a quick announcement now. You too can be a part of class action. If you have any ideas when you want to be involved, you let me or Richard know. We'll get in touch with you. Maybe I don't know how we're going to do that yet necessarily, but get in touch with us if you have ideas, and we'll tell you what our topic is, and you can give us a similar top 5 question that we'll have to debate or figure out what we're doing. So
yeah, usually we would probably have someone send in a doc for us or a voice message that we won't open or listen to until we're recording. So we are recording now, and we are going to be listening what Billy Belford sent in for us.
And I have not listened to this. None of us have listened to this yet. We are high tech here at Action Industries, so I'm going to play it off my phone into the microphone so we all can hear. Let's see what we got here.
Okay, so the question is, who could replace Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones if they were to do a reboot? Thanks.
Ooh,
okay, so we'll probably have like a top 6 list of the actors who could replace him. I think that's the best way to approach.
And I think we should do, honestly, whatever. Here we are talking. We should have talked about this off air, but we're going to talk about it on air. Or we can just have a conversation together. We can just throw some names out there together, come up with 5 together if you want. Just do a top 5.
I think we should just go with 3 and 3.
Okay.
Just like we've been doing,
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to try to audible. He's throwing me down. Just so you know, also, Billy actually, I believe, sent in his top 5, and we'll play that after just for kicks.
For sure.
But okay, go with that. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
The first one, probably I'm going with the easy one because I feel like I'm going to buy myself some time. But okay. I actually think, I'm going to throw Chris Pratt in here. And he's been talked about a lot, but I think there's a big reason why he's being talked about. So
I agree.
Because Harrison Ford did India and he did on Han Solo. They're very similar characters. Why not have Chris Pratt do Star-Lord and be the new Indiana Jones? Why the hell not? And he's even, I don't know the character's name in Jurassic World. He also has Indy vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're not wrong. There's sometimes, like they say, and sometimes a cliche for a reason. It makes sense. He could be a good Indiana. That's not really not out of the realm of possibility. Well, let me think. I think I can't go too cheap and go Ed Harris, right? Ed Harris is my Indiana Jones, the older Indiana Jones. That's the reboot. It's the older Indiana Jones when Harrison Ford goes or something. I know he's already old, so and I can't do that though. Instead, another one I'm not going to do this one either, but I got to throw it out there. I probably get sacrificed if I suggested Alden Ehrenreich to be the younger Harrison Ford again.
Don't do it.
I won't do it. All right, so I'm going to go with somebody a little different. Maybe we'll go with Miles Teller.
Interesting.
I feel like he's got a little bit of comic timing when he needs to.
And he's cocky.
But he's very cocky. I think he held that cocky aspect very well. So
I actually like that. I think it's a pretty good one.
He's a little too serious, but it might be if he just loosens up just a little bit. I think he can play it off very well.
All right, man, I'm piggybacking off of another project. But if we were going really young, I could see Tom Holland do it.
Wow, that's really young. You're talking young Indiana Jones, like
yeah, but why? Well, Tom Holland is actually like 25 or something. So
okay. Interesting choice. I mean, he can play Spider-Man. Can he do India? Can he do?
But he could play the character like that River Phoenix started.
Yeah.
Like the way that River Phoenix started. You know.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
So I'm really struggling with my next one.
Okay, so I got to go now.
I got one more.
You got a little bit of time. I got two more. All right, I'm gonna go with one.
Mm-hmm.
Taron Egerton.
Oh, damn it! That's a great one.
Taron Egerton, he's already proved like The Kingsman is a Bond movie, but his style in that once he got going could also be translated. Just a few tweaks. I think we transferred right into that cocky Indiana Jones style. I like that one myself. So I stole it right from underneath you.
So I'm gonna just throw it out there to piss everyone off.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Shia LaBeouf.
Mutt? You're gonna put Mutt as Indiana Jones? There's a reason why Harrison Ford
that
took
was the plan.
path.
That was the plan. But hear me out. Shia has grown a lot as an actor. He's done so much. He's been picking like these indie projects. He's been showing his chops, and I feel like he's ready to come back on the big screen in a big way in a big blockbuster movie. So why not?
Wrong.
Why not?
You're not wrong. That could actually do well. I could see it happening. But there's a reason why Harrison Ford.
It's going to piss a lot of people off.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with somebody completely off the wall here. I think
Andrew Guy.
Andrew fucking Guy. No, I'm not gonna be Andrew Guy. Although he would make a good Indiana Jones anyway.
Sure.
If only I'm forgetting his name now. I'm a big Star Wars.
Okay, tell me where he's from. I'll help you out.
You know who it is. I would have put Finn in as Indiana Jones.
Who?
Finn from Star Wars.
John Boyega.
John Boyega. That's
a great one.
John Boyega. A little bit different.
Why not Oscar Isaac though?
That's another choice I was thinking too. But I thought that was almost too much on the nose. I wanted to try something completely different. And have John, like the young John Boyega, to give him a little bit more, play it a little more. He'd have to play it a little more intelligently because his Finn's a little more lower. Not low level. What's the word I'm looking for? Earthy.
Just wiggle yourself out of this one.
No, Finn's not the most like intelligent. Like not a teacher. You know, I don't see Finn's being a teacher. He's a janitor for Christ's sake. You know, and that kind of thing. It's a different thing. But I think Finn could play that very well. You get that adventurous spirit in him. I think it could be a fun choice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he's got the cocky side in him as well. He can very well play that.
I should actually win again Oscar Isaac too, though. That would have been cool. Oscar Isaac could be very cool too.
No. But let's go with John Boyega. I like that one actually.
I will. Yeah. I'm just gonna throw it out there as another possibility. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Those are our off the cuff list right there. I guess I was short on points for not remembering John Boyega. I needed my JT for that one.
And we were even talking about doing some trivia together. I'm not so sure anymore.
Back me up. Jeremiah Morris would beat me now in the Star Wars Championship. Anyway, but you know what? We should listen to what Billy had to say. I'm not listening to see what these. I believe there's going to be Billy's choices. So let's see what he had to say. I get to work.
All right, here are my top 5 actors who could play Indiana Jones if they were to reboot the movie. Number 5, Tom Holland. Probably too young, but I think he'd make a perfect Indiana Jones. Number 4, Chris Pratt. He's kind of like everybody's choice. I think it's a little too obvious. I also don't think he has the nerdy side to play Indiana Jones.
Oh, he does. Look at Andy Dwyer.
Number 3, Bradley Cooper. Probably too cool to be Indiana Jones.
No, I actually like that.
He has the look for sure. Number 2, Miles Teller.
There we go.
He might be a little young. He's also might be a little too much of an asshole, but he really kind of fits.
All right, one more for number 1, I guess.
And number 1, Michael Fassbender. I think he's probably the most perfect between his acting ability, ability to appear intellectual, and everything else.
I think he's missing the. I actually Fassbender I like the least of all of them.
Really?
I don't think Fassbender has this he usually doesn't have a lot of fun with his roles. Like he likes to play more serious and sort of like, I don't know.
I agree with that. I can see both sides. I like to see him try. I don't always had much of a chance to try in a way. He's never really had the chance to do that. He's a great actor, so maybe he can pull it off. Sure. So, all right, I could go with that. So not bad list, not bad.
There were a lot of overlapping ones, though.
That's why I'm glad he paid our.
Bradley Cooper and Michael Fassbender were the only ones that we didn't mention.
True. I really like the Bradley Cooper idea. I think he can play that pretty well. I think he might be a little old for it now,
but I do like it though, because Harrison Ford wasn't so young when he did Indiana Jones.
You're not wrong. Not wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would be our public defender segment. So, is it time? Let's just get into our brief of the week, maybe.
Let's have Indiana Jones face Han Solo in 5 categories.
These 5 custom-made categories. Number 1, more iconic look. When you see that character, which one is just the most iconic look of the uniform or the costume, anything about it? But we'll find out who looks more iconic. Number 2, best sidekicks / relationships. And how do they get along with our main character? 3, best lines. Both Indiana and Han have a lot of classic dialogue.
So we're just going to start doing lines from the movie, I mean.
Wow. Get that on there.
Did not need that specification. Let's move on.
Number 4, best skill set. That could be actual physical skills. It could be mental skills, wit, smarts, all that kind of jazz. And then finally, number 5, best action hero moments. Those moments you go, that's a fucking hero.
Yep. It can be anything. It can be like one of the biggest action set pieces there is, or it can be a smaller, more subtle moment, but we'll just leave it at that for now.
I do want to say, here's a spoiler for you for these 5 categories. Usually I come into this segment and I have ideas of who I go, this one's gonna win, this one, this one. I'm gonna have one category. I'm kind of like, we'll see. All 5 categories, I'm kind of like, I really don't know. I'm going through going, could be
same.
So this is going to be a huge moment for us where we see which one is going to win. I'm going to get that ticker right one of these days, by the way. I'm going to point it out now. I'm going to call myself out on it. I discussed this ticker. Actually, Andrew Guy suggested it.
The one down here?
The one down there, right there now. It's supposed to be going through, and it's supposed to put up right at the beginning. It's supposed to be like a news brief, Public Defender. I realized halfway through Public Defender, I hadn't put it up yet. So I fuck it. And then went out, I'm like, here I am. Oh, we're in the brief already. I can't remember to do it. We need a tech. We need a Cody Hall. We need somebody behind the scenes to do it. Okay, I'm going to call myself out. Done. All right. So now it's up there. It's right. Han Solo versus Indiana Jones. Let's get going. The first one, more iconic look. Want me to go? Or do you want me to go?
I think I'll go first because there's some categories that I definitely want you to go first. But before we get into it, I'll just say I say this pretty much every time, but like if someone just asked me Han Solo or Indiana Jones, just pick one. I would pick Han Solo in a heartbeat, like no question. But these categories let me really dive in and take this more in a subjective way. And this first category, I actually did a little test on Britta. She is not as well versed in the movies as I am. She watches. She's a casual movie fan. She's a casual movie watcher. And I just gave her. Right? She doesn't watch Star Wars. I'm not sure if she's seen Indiana Jones movies. So I just said to her, I'm just going to show you 2 pictures. Tell me if you know both of their names or just one of them or neither of them. So I showed her a picture of Indiana Jones and Han Solo. She said, no idea who this guy is. And I'm pretty sure that guy is a famous traveler. So she recognized Indiana Jones. She didn't know the names. And honestly, she's not supposed to because she's not into like the nerdy stuff at all, which is totally fine. And I gotta say that got me thinking a lot. And as much of a fan as I am of Han Solo's look, I think Indiana Jones, he is way more iconic in his look. He has the hat, he has the whip, he has these like beige pants and a like egg white shirt that's it looks so plain, but it works. And the brown jacket, everything about those pieces is iconic, and it's more recognizable. That's what I base this on. I think he's more recognizable.
You're making my arguments for me. It's exactly the same thing. I thought about when you're making it exactly the way I would make it too. Is that Indiana Jones is definitely more of an iconic look to him, I think, because he's, again, the hat and the whip. You have a silhouette of Indiana in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Even I had that moment.
That's right. The silhouette.
All you have to do is see the silhouette of Indiana Jones. You know who it is. It's Indiana Jones. Yep. Can't do that with Han Solo. I mean, Han Solo does have a couple iconic things. The low hanging holster, the Star Wars costume where it's just the black vest and the white shirt. I mean, it's crisp and clean. Him standing next to Chewie is an iconic part of his look as well, but it's not quite as distinct as that Indiana Jones thing. You got Indiana Jones with the hat, the whip. That's, you know who that is. And plus, you know, it's the movie's name. It's Indiana Jones. It's not Han Solo. It's Indiana Jones in Star Wars, not Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? So I think that I know it's not part of the look, but that kind of lends itself to me as well. I'm going to go Indiana Jones also.
And if you'd put him up against, like, in a different fight, you'd put Luke Skywalker versus Indiana Jones, you'd still have Indiana Jones be the more iconic look.
The only one that'd be different in, like, Star Wars, for example, would be Vader.
Darth Vader.
That's right. Darth Vader would be more iconic, but that'd be about it. So Indiana Jones wins that one for us. So
2 points for Indiana Jones. And so we move on to the next category, which is sidekicks and relationships.
Want me to go first on this one?
Yep, go ahead.
Well, let's just lay them out in the line here. Indiana Jones is some of the best relationships. Marion, who's his love interest in Raiders and in Kingdom of Crystal Skull. You had Willie Scott in Temple of Doom, and you had Ilsa, the one who betrays him in spoilers in the Last Crusade.
You don't have to say spoilers.
I know, spoilers. It's a 30, 40-year-old movie, whatever it is now. But I also have the other cool characters, side characters like Short Round in Temple of Doom, Sala, who I love, Marcus Brody. A lot of cool little fun characters to play off.
Was Sala John Rhys Davies? Davies?
Yes, John Rhys Davies, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was him. So that's a good one right there. On the Han side, you got Chewie, Luke, and Leia.
Yep.
And those are a big solid 4 for me. So as my first glance without going into it is, how can you vote against the big 3 plus Chewbacca? Han, Luke, and Leia are just they have a great team up together. It's more about, instead of Indiana and his sidekicks and relationships, Han actually has a family there with them. I mean, Leia, much as I love Marion's no Princess Leia. And Luke is sure. I mean, how can you compare Luke to any other media? Luke's the Jedi Knight, saves Han as much as Han saves him. I mean, I think, to me, Han Solo pretty much wins this hand down, even though Indiana might have more characters to play with. Han's characters and dynamic is better overall. I got to go with Han Solo.
Yeah, this is, I feel like this is an easy one for Han. And my reasoning for this is Indiana Jones has a new sidekick and a new love interest each movie. Han is loyal with Chewie, Leia. Well, Luke, yeah, but we're talking side. I don't think Luke qualifies as a sidekick. Well, okay, relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. That's true. But I feel like, Indy he always. But again, it's sort of like unfair, because if you think about it, because it's episodic. The movies are supposed to be a new adventure.
That's true.
So they change. So they change these sidekicks. But again, and I'm a guy who values like loyalty, and I love that Han and Chewie, they're inseparable. Everything they do, you think of them together. And Han and Leia are, I think, they're probably like my favorite screen couple ever. Even though Marion does make a return in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so in a way they do tie in this sort of loyalty with Indiana Jones as well. But again, I don't know. I just love this core group that he's with. Well,
I would argue too. I could even actually argue you have both of that in Star Wars, because Force Awakens has the episodic quality that Indiana Jones has too. There you get Finn and Rey being with Han the entire time. That in that movie, pretty much. I mean, Leia is there as well.
Chewie is still there,
and Chewie is still there.
Leia is still there.
I love that. I love that. I love his relationship with Finn and with Rey. I got a very strong connection between those characters compared to some of the other ones. I mean, not to say that Indy's character. I mean, I love Indy with Short Round. I think that's a great dynamic. But it's kind of similar. It's almost similar in a way to the Finn relationship in a way, like a younger, almost father type character in a way, but just older. They're just older to shift the ages a little bit. We'll get into that. But yeah, so you got both of that and the core of Luke and Leia's in the episodic format. I think it's got to be Han Solo pretty easily. So
that's right. I think when we get to best skills, wits, and smarts, I'm going to throw it back to this category a little bit. So I'm going to save some of my reasonings for now.
Ooh, okay. Okay. I like that. All right. So let's go to the next category. My favorite of this actually, I think. Best lines. Let's go. You can go back and forth with best lines here.
I'm not sure how to even should we just start saying lines?
Just start saying lines until we figure out which one we want.
Okay, I was trying to think what could combat "I love you, I know," because that's the line that, that's the first line that I think of immediately when I think of all Harrison Ford lines.
I got it.
I know. I think I know. Say it from
Snakes.
Indiana Jones.
Snakes.
Really?
Why did it have to be snakes?
No, for me it's not the years, honey. It's the mileage.
That's another one. It's my favorite one. I don't think that's.
I say that all the time.
I don't think that's quite as iconic because I think Indy's fear of snakes has been kind of a big thing. So every time you see anything, it's always my friends and I and everyone I always talk to, always say, snakes. Why does it have to be snakes? It's more, I guess, maybe it might be less a line, more the funny aspect of it, the fear. Because actually, in Salah's line is actually funnier in a way. I want to see the asps, very dangerous. You go first. Diving into his line. But you're right, though, when it comes down to it, maybe I love that. But I do that it's not the years, honey. It's the mileage. Might be my favorite Indiana Jones line, though. I will say, I will give you that. So, but there are other ones that are so good too, though.
It's there's Great Kid, Don't Get Cocky. That's such a classic one.
Never tell me the odds. Let's go through the rest of the Han ones. I wrote down a couple of them.
Bad dates. Oh, that's not even his line, is it?
That's Salah's line again.
That's right. Interesting. So we're starting to see a pattern here.
But I got some other Indiana Jones ones. I got some other Indiana ones, though. No ticket. After he throws the guy up.
Yeah. Yes. That was perfect. I got a better one for you in Indy. You lost today, kid, but that doesn't mean you have to like it.
But again, not Indy's line.
That's Indy's line.
No, you lost today, kid, but you don't have to like it. That's the guy talking to Indy. He's talking to River Phoenix.
Really?
Right before he gets the hat? Just right before the hat?
But doesn't he say it again to... I thought he said it again.
I don't believe so. Man,
later.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're starting to see a pattern here.
But I got a couple other ones for Indy that I could throw in there. One of my favorite ones in India in Temple of Doom. It's more of how he says it. It's his facial expression. But Indy, and when they're caught in the room with the spikes coming down, and Willie's there, and he's trying to get Willie to put his hand in her hand, and you get to see his face. We are going to die.
Yep, I think you know what it comes down to. Indy's lines are how he says the lines, but Han's lines are also it's how he says them, but they're also great lines. So, sort of
use a good kiss.
Yeah.
Who's scruffy looking?
And there's sometimes I even amaze myself.
Yeah, that's not how the Force works.
And also, so we're going the new trilogy. I think it's Chewie, We're Home.
Chewie, We're Home. Oh, that's the one that's actually so iconic. I almost cry when I hear it.
I think we have our answer though.
We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Boring conversation anyway. I think we do too.
Honestly, I haven't decided because this is one of the categories that I'm undecided on. But hearing the lines,
I'm decided now. I'm decided it's Han Solo because I gotta say
that's right. It's Han Solo. It's
because
sure
Indiana. I love Indiana's line. I love a lot of Indiana Jones lines, but some of the best lines are from other people to him. Sometimes, so yeah. I also like "Don't Call Me Junior." By the way, when after he shoots "Don't Call Me Junior." They both have great lines. Let's put it that way. They both have great lines. So
one more. Listen, big deal. You got another problem. Women always figure out the truth. Always.
It's
I
true.
love this because it's so true. It's so true.
It's true. All of it. Jedi.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
All of it. Oh, God, there's so many good ones on both sides. It's just a great. It's Harrison Ford, just phenomenal anyway.
But this is still this is Han's
Solo.
category. This is Han's category.
All right, best skill set.
Best skills with smarts.
Yep.
So this is the one I feel like I'm going to be getting some heat on, but I said I want to throw it back a little bit. I'll start off because Indiana Jones. All right, he's a professor of archaeology at it's university, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's college. What do you say over there? University, college, same thing.
Both. It can be the same. Yeah, use it at both.
Yeah. So, and he's this adventurer. He's an expert hand-to-hand combatant. He can handle himself with a whip. He can climb. He's a survivor. He pretty much can do anything and get out of any situation. So I started looking at Han Solo in that way. He's referred to as he can always talk himself out of sticky situations. But can he though? He always tries, but he never talks himself out of any of the situations. When he tries to talk, it ends up in a gunfight.
And it's a bit even in Force Awakens. Chewbacca called him out on it.
Yes, I do every time.
Every time.
So in a way, he's like, he's smart, but he's not smart enough to talk himself out of these situations. So and he usually ends up shooting his way out, but most of the time he relies on his sidekicks. He wouldn't have gotten out of any of these situations if it wasn't for Chewie, and even Leia and even Luke.
Yeah.
So in a way, his sidekicks are very much a part of him, and he never relies on himself solely to get out of these situations. And even piloting, I think piloting is probably his best skill set.
I would say he's got a couple. He's got piloting is definitely good. His mechanical skills in general.
With a blaster, he's good.
He's a sharpshooter blaster. He's a great draw. Yeah, and he's a good con artist. He does smuggles and stuff out there. And although he gets caught. He doesn't caught. Even Jabba gets caught. It's true. It's very true. He does
right because I love Han Solo, but you can't deny that he actually ends up in pretty bad situations.
That line
because of himself, and he relies on his friends to help him out.
That line I said earlier is classic Han Solo, which sums it up. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Boring conversation.
An amazing moment, but he shoots himself in the knee there.
And then on the other side, I got Indiana Jones, professor. He can read like all these languages. The whole movies are all about him reading these clues and finding these clues and figuring out these clues. He travels all along the world. He knows so much. He's got such a depth of knowledge that's not even funny. He's got skill with the whip. The only thing he can't do, which is actually funny, and I never even thought about this. This is kind of a sidebar I want to mention. I watched the movies again recently. The first time in 30, almost 40 years, in Temple of Doom, Harrison Ford goes up to the plane, and Willie Scott says, can you fly this thing? He's like, no, can you?
How hard can it be?
How hard can it be? And he's not a pilot. Like Han Solo is the best pilot in the galaxy, but Indiana Jones can't fly a fucking biplane or whatever it is.
I think he says I can fly, but not land or something.
It's something similar, but it was just funny. Like it was just a funny dichotomy of the characters. Like this Han Solo would have taken them like, no problem. But either way, I'm getting off track. But Harrison Ford can't. So Indiana can't fly, but he can do almost anything else, and he talks his way out of situations better than Han Solo does.
For sure, and he feels indestructible. If we look at, I think it was in Temple of Doom when they jump out of the airplane with a raft,
the inflatable raft,
and he's fine. And then there's a nuclear explosion, and he's inside a refrigerator.
Pretty ridiculous, but you got to credit he survived.
He's got a scratch. He survives. Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite. He's pretty much done for if it wasn't for Leia and Luke.
That's true.
And Chewie.
I will point out one of it. He did. I remember one time specifically. I'll bring up that he did fall victim to the Han Solo type shirt when he's breaking into the castle in Last Crusade. He does that ridiculous accent about the tapestries and everything else.
Oh yeah. but he handles the situation. He doesn't get caught. Well, he gets caught, but he neutralizes the threat.
And he gets his book signed by Hitler and gets out of it. So it's all
Oh my God, yes. That's so good.
So Indiana tends to get out of things more than Han Solo does. I mean, he does get trapped, by the way, in Raiders, though he does get trapped in the pit. But he actually does get out of it as well. So, but the best skills, the best knowledge. Han doesn't know a lot of things. He just got a lot of street smarts.
Yep.
It's about book smarts and street smarts. And Indiana kicks his ass in book smarts and can probably rival him in street smarts. So I think
so. Yeah. Same here. This is all the way Indy.
All the way Indy. Oh, it's tough for me to say that because I love Han Solo skills. But
I know, me too.
Best pilot in the galaxy. But I'm going to tell you. Well, it's our last category. Best action hero moments. Number 5. Wow, this is a lot of classics too. But looking over it, I think I have an answer. But
it's interesting. Okay, you go ahead because I started first last time.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Actually, I want to hear. I want to hear what your thoughts are on it before I give my answer.
So I wrote down a bunch of scenes that I'm trying to base this on. But eventually, I said when we introed the category that it can be a big action set piece, or it can be a subtle moment. So, 2 of the most iconic moments for Han and for Indy are both subtle moments. So, Han Solo for me is when Han shoots first. In the cantina, he shoots Greedo. This tells you everything about him as a character. It's like, and this is an awesome intro. Maybe it's too harsh. I don't know, but I like the moment. He's this cutthroat guy, and then we have Indiana Jones's most famous moment when he shoots the swordsman. Like I feel like these moments are perfectly balanced with each other. How do we decide?
They're both very good. I wrote them down as well. I wrote down a bunch of ones myself. I wrote down a bunch of little scenes for Han. I was like, moments like when he chases after the stormtroopers in the Death Star, he just runs after them until he catches up to them and there's a billion of them. He has to run away.
There's an exactly the same scene in Indiana Jones.
So, I wrote down saving Luke in the Death Star run when he comes back in the Falcon.
That's right. I have the same one written down. Yep.
Piloting the Falcon away from Vader in the Empire Strikes Back with the floating away with the garbage and doing all sorts of things. I mean, that's not necessarily a heroic move, but getting out of the Space Worm's gullet, so to speak. Storming Starkiller base with Finn and Rey, and challenging Ben on the catwalk. If you go back to Solo tricking Dryden Voss with the trying to trick Dryden Voss with the fuel. With that.
What was it called?
God, I'm really failing my Star Wars knowledge.
Like something Antium.
No, it's
Quaxium.
It's Quaxium. Again, I'm getting my JT. It's Schmodown. I get my JTs recently. I'm a little rusty, but it would have been Quaxium.
Unobtainium.
It's also 7:30 in the morning here from here. 8:30 in the morning. I'm just really tired. I've been up all night. No excuse.
But like you mentioned a lot of Han moments, but like
I'm going to go to the Indy ones. The Indy ones now. The Indy ones are even more iconic, I think. That's what I'm laying because you got the boulder rolling. You got the bridge cutting.
The opening in Raiders, yeah.
The bridge cutting. You got the minecart chase. You got the fight with the thuggy guy when he was getting caught in the voodoo things going on. It's a big thuggy cult guy. You got Indy versus the tank. And
I think that's the biggest action scene out of all of them.
The motorcycle chase also. The motorcycle chase in Kingdom Crystal Skull. I mean, that's a little more mutt, but he's a big part of it. The boat.
Do you know why I'm pausing now?
Why that?
I'll tell you why. I even mentioned this when I was watching Indiana Jones movies. Han Solo's moments are it's a sci-fi movie. There's a lot of he's flying around, he's shooting. If you think about Indiana Jones moments, he's usually doing all the physical stuff himself. And when I was watching it, I could tell that it was Harrison Ford doing these stunts. I'm pretty sure there were stunt guys, but you can tell back in the 80s, you can tell when it's a stunt double. He was dragging behind the trucks at times. Yep. He was climbing on the tanks. You can tell it's slowed down and like sped up later in post, but you can tell a lot of the times that it's him.
It is him.
So I think I'm actually veering towards Indiana Jones because of that.
Last ditch effort. That's I am choosing Indiana Jones. His scenes are more iconic hero moments. Han has some great moments, but they're usually in tangent with other things. Does that make sense? Whereas Indy does his big moments with himself as the hero. That sounds weird, I guess, but either way.
I'm too immature for this.
I'm right there with you, so don't worry about it. So I'm going to go that way. I'm going to go Indy. So it's up to you what you're going to do.
Okay, and it's not an action hero. Oh, it could be an action hero moment. It's just a funny thing he does. Indiana Jones and his father both sleep with the same woman. I had totally forgotten about this.
She talks in her sleep.
You're Eskimo bros with your father. That's crazy.
That is crazy stuff right there. What is Sean Connery? So I'll give you credit over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Are the Indiana Jones movies PG-13 or are they like what's the?
I think they were PG-13. The first one might have been PG because I don't think PG-13 existed until.
Okay.
I think actually Indiana Jones Temple of Doom might have been the first PG-13 movie or one of the first PG-13 movies.
Okay, because there's a lot of blood and there's like he's sleeping with women and then the stuff with his father, everything. There's a lot of dark themes in there. That's well, not dark, but mature themes.
Guy gets his heart ripped out for Christ's sake in Temple of Doom. So,
although it feels like it should be a family movie. Yeah, I digress. But I think we're both going with Indiana Jones.
We are. I think Indiana Jones is the best action hero moments. So that means we have a winner. We have a winner, and it might not be what everybody expected, or maybe it is what people expected. What did they say on Instagram? Was it 53 to 47%?
Oh yeah, I did a poll. Which would the people choose? It was 53% for Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, our winner, Indiana Jones.
Wow.
6-4. 6.
I was not expecting this.
4. It is amazing, and that is our winner, Indiana Jones. It makes sense. It does make sense, and here's why. The main thing it comes down to, the movies are Indiana Jones. It's about him. Han Solo is kind of just a cog in a bigger picture. That makes sense.
It does make sense.
He's a piece of a bigger picture. It's more about that story is more about Luke and Vader than it is about Han. Han's a side character almost who is damn cool, but he hasn't had much opportunity as Indiana. Indiana has every opportunity because it's his fucking movie.
So it's unfair.
It is a little unfair. It is unfair. I love Han Solo, so I gotta give him something somewhere. But it makes sense. It is a little unfair, but life is unfair sometimes, right?
It is.
So
I almost wanted to say you chose poorly because I honestly I wanted Han Solo to win, but the more I think about it, the more I think
it makes sense.
Does deserve it.
And I'm someone who, before this episode, every time this ever came up, who's better, Han or Indiana? I'm always the one who said Han because Star Wars is my biggest champ. Star Wars is my favorite franchise in the history of franchises. I love Indy, but Star Wars has always been number one. But when it comes down to, I put them up against each other. I do the work. Indiana Jones is probably the better overall character. You know who else agrees with us? Harrison Ford. Because he cares much more about Indiana than he does about Han Solo.
I would love to see what Kearns thinks of this. I know he's a big fan of. I think he's his favorite actor. And
it probably must be. He's definitely two of his favorite franchises.
I'd like to see what he thinks. So definitely leave a comment if you watch this.
I want to know what you thought, because I want to know what you would have said if you had been on. But which we should have actually maybe had him on. But well, that's a different story. Different story for a different time, I guess.
Women are always right. Britta picked Indiana Jones.
There you go. That's a good point.
Point proven.
Always right. So, well, that's our show for the week, guys. Do some plugging here. Like I said, we are on the Action Industries YouTube channel. This is actually airing on a special day because of scheduling. We usually go on Saturdays, and that is our day of the week is Saturdays. But due to some scheduling issues, this should be dropping on Monday, I believe. So you already had the Action Guys last night. So I hope it was a great episode. I'm sure it was a great episode. Really I laughed my ass off.
It was a great one.
Awesome.
And the live event, I'm pretty sure.
The champion was phenomenal. The champion won.
I don't even want to predict. I don't want to jinx anything.
I'm not going to jinx anything. I don't know. That's going to be a great match. That's going to be. Well, that was a great match. It should be a great match. So, But that's what we got for Action Industries. I'm sure there'll be another AMA this week, Action Movie Anatomy on Wednesday, and it'll be Action Guys on Sunday, as well as Action Unfiltered stream on Fridays. As far as we go, my name is @_DiNuzzo on Twitter, and you can find me on this show every week. You can find me on the Call to Action podcast, especially Chilled Action, which will.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I was just trying to do a drum roll for your.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Movie Trivia Schmodown. If you don't know what that is, please check that out because that's a fun thing that Ben and Drew are also involved in. And that's right. Tonight is Chilled Action. That's right. So it's our special guest.
That's not what I meant.
John the Outlaw Roca is going to be on
PLD Projects.
That's the next thing I was going to mention too. I have a lot of things to plug. That is our last thing. Yes, I have finally debuted PLD Projects. It's my own YouTube channel where I'll be doing a lot of short form content, 10 to 15 minute shows. I'm going to do one on Star Wars. I'm going to do one on the 1980s sci-fi show V. I'm going to do a show on Queen. I'm going to do a show on. I'm going to do some trailer reactions, movie reactions. And I might be doing an interview show as well. That's all coming. It's going to be a slow roll out, but go check that out and like and subscribe. And also like and subscribe to this channel. Jarvi, what do you got going on?
Yeah, pretty much nothing. This is all I have. Class action. If it weren't for this, okay. So I'm Richard Eric with a K Jarvi on Instagram and on Facebook. And actually, I mentioned Action Industries in an Estonian news article. They did an article because the Film Guru stuff that I'm doing in Estonia, it turned 1 year. And I mentioned Action Industries, so there's a little plug for Estonian audiences for Action Industries as well.
Fair enough. I should also point out, because I'm really dumb not to, www.patreon.com/Team Action. I work with Ben and Drew on running their Patreon. A lot of new exciting tiers for them. Go support them. They definitely deserve your support. They host us, so you got to support them.
That's right. But going back to chill to action, I almost feel like I blew by too fast. What do you think of the World Cup episode? What do you think? Are they going to do record numbers?
I might. It could very well. We're having some record numbers recently. Our Kate Mulligan episode was huge. Mark Ellis shot us through the roof. We actually got over 2,000 views, which is before Kate 3 weeks ago we hadn't broken 1,000 views yet. Kate broke 1,000 and Mark Ellis broke 2,000. So we're going the right place. But with John Roca's history with the Call to Action podcast, we had a little beef for a little while, a little kayfabe, a little back and forth. But we mended the bridge. We came together. We had to talk man to man, but it's still going to be a one for the ages where you come and see what exactly happens when the
definitely going to be the biggest episode for Call to Action. So definitely go subscribe. We need to get up to 1,000 subscribers.
C2A to 1K. So, but as far as this show goes, I'm not sure what we're doing next week. I think we might be doing something involving the Invisible Man.
Yeah, I did see it.
You saw it. I'm going to be seeing it. I probably by now have I saw it yesterday. If everything went right. But we'll let you guys know as soon as we know, and we'll try maybe contact again once somebody wants to come up with some kind of off the cuff public defender type top 5, top 6 list that you want us to do on the air, and we'll give you credit for it. Let us know. Comments. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter, and that's what we'll do. But for right now, court is adjourned.